I'm a melanated copy of his image. My existence is a
There we are.
photographic memory.
We are officially live.
Mind, which is God designed. Time, non-linear,
Oh
spherical.
wait, we'll
What
give
goes
people
around
time
comes
to
around like the
jump
zero.
into
So anything meant
to
to be
the
has
to the
always
live.
been. Deja vu is you awakening again from the dream you dreamt before. My descendants will become my ancestors in their rarest form. Do you see the deep connection? I'm Black history simply by being present. My present being is a presence. I do and say nothing, and you still feel my essence. Blessing the moment occurring in an instant. The ignorant with the low vibes can't comprehend it, so they scoff and run away. And they hate by the way that they talk. I can tell they were taught by the fake.
All right. We got a couple of people in the room right now. We're gonna go ahead and get started before I move forward. Thank you, Miss Juju. The music you hearing in the background right now is from my boy right here, John Skywalker. He is available on all streaming platforms. If you're looking for something laid back, cool, pure hip hop, please go ahead and download him immediately. Go ahead and get started. This is things that people don't want to talk about, brought to you by God Level. That will be me. My name is actually Renee. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm down here right now. 314 Emo St. Paul Vest Sodas. If you know, you know. I am an entrepreneur. I am a nurse. I am a mother. I'm a best friend. I'm a cousin. I'm an aunt. Sister. I am everything good. John, you want to go ahead and represent yourself?
John Nicholson here, aka John Scott. I hear feedback. Uh okay.
Feedback?
Yeah, we're good now. We're good.
Okay,
John
go ahead.
Nicholson here, aka John Skywalker, the sly talker, lyricist, spoken word artist, martial artist, personal trainer, lover of life, student of psychology, and father. So, like she said, that is me, John Skywalker. That is Theory of Being from my first album, Dimensions. I have 3 albums available on all streaming platforms: Dimensions, Higher Dimensions, and Light Benders. Final Dimension will be coming, if not this year, the beginning of next year. So, yeah, go ahead and cop that if you guys like positive hip hop, conscious hip hop, real lyricism, golden era hip hop. That is me. Also, y'all, like I said, I am a personal trainer and I am taking clients as of right now. We can train you virtually, get your body right, whether it be for this summer, next summer, uh, whatever your fitness goals are, just contact me at master.johnskywalker on Instagram. That is my Instagram. If you are looking to get your body right, and just keep this in mind also, physical fitness gets your mental health proper. It's an outlet for that as well. So if you are looking to get your mind and your body and your spirit right, hit me up. Let's go ahead and work. Salute.
Salute. This is you there? Hey,
Right on time.
right on time. Actually, brother, you want to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead and represent yourself?
Adjust your camera.
uh, newborn everything on
Adjust
social
the camera.
media platforms. As always, I am. I want to hold things. I apologize for my tardiness, technical difficulties. I'm here.
Yeah, adjust your cam, pull it down some, so we can see all of you. Me, me. Oh,
Good.
there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I'm
there
just
we
All
go.
right.
working.
Yes, you a little choppy of just a tad bit, just a tad bit.
Are you for
Um,
real?
just a little
Yeah,
choppy.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little
it's
fuzzy.
okay. It is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, let me because I had to screenshot this comment. Um, if you all been following the show all month, you would know that our focus has been on mental health. This is Mental Health Awareness Month, and as we come to a close, we're going to talk about mental health in Black families. The first 2 weeks we talked about Black men and mental health. The second 2 weeks we talked about Black women and mental health. This is our fifth Sunday for this podcast in this month, and we're going to talk about Black families and mental health. My boy John, I love him to death. He came up with two questions this week and posted them. The first one was, why isn't mental health a topic that families discussed often? Yes, it's hold on. Okay. Oh, thank you for grabbing that for me. Um, I went through some of the comments, and a lot of people are basically saying it's um ashamed, fear of being judged. And then let's just be honest, we don't know how.
Hmm. Language.
Yeah, how do you start that conversation? How do you sit down and talk about something like that? Which got me to thinking, with my new diagnosis, I'm going to have to sit down with all of my children and have a conversation. But yeah, and then you brush it off as being, oh, they're just crazy. You know, you've normalized their mental health as that's just them. That's just how they are, not understanding that there's an underlining problem to why they are the way they are, and that they need help.
Hmm.
Anybody want to add to that? Because I got a comment. I don't even want to say this person's name, but
Yeah.
she hit it on the money.
We'll go ahead. We'll go ahead. Let's hit it then. Let's go ahead and hit that. We
Okay.
can follow up.
People have passed on ignorance. She came through the door swinging. So many were taught that counseling was for the weak or mentally insane, especially in most Black households. Instead of speaking of trauma, you're told to man up, suck it up, or don't talk about what goes on in this house, which teaches children not to express their emotions, to hold it in, which over time becomes toxic. When conflict arises, parents often yell over the children, then say, "Go to your room." Uh, You got that. Go ahead. Can y'all do that?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have it.
thank you. Um, where was I? When conflict arises, parents often yell over their children, then say, "Go to your room," which teaches isolation. It doesn't allow them to process their emotions or be heard. Not enough people are willing to unlearn unhealthy behaviors that continue these cycles. They actually continue them, which how which how generational curses continue. No one wants to be vulnerable enough to say, "I've learned incorrectly and I may need counseling to help challenge my way of thinking." Why did I emphasize children? Because most of who we are started then. We have given the coping skills, defense mechanisms, and trauma response the title of characteristics. We say, "That's just how I am," without questioning why. I could go on, but will not. It's too many grown children walking around this world who are 40 in physical age, but their emotional age
Ooh.
is 10. Ooh, who is, I need her to friend me. We need to be friends. This is why we see grown people throwing tantrums and acting a fool. They weren't taught right to begin with, and trying to teach them that they weren't is very hard. They weren't. I don't even want to read another comment. That was that comment right there. That was it. That was that was the comment for me. Do you wanna share anything, John? Because after reading that, that was everything in a
Um.
nutshell.
Shoot. There was so many. I was very
Dude,
impressed.
yes, very impressed. I want to thank
But
everyone who took out time to answer that question. Now, where are you? Because I would love to hear from you. The number has, oh, what is this? Calling with your thoughts, mental health, 229-921-1958.
And 458.
No, 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 no. What are we doing? 832-318-6966.
Okay.
How do y'all not have this? We do this every Sunday.
That's why I asked.
You 6966. There you go. Hey, Joanna, call in, honey. We want to hear from you on your thoughts on why we are not having this conversation in the household. I want to hear from everyone. We had a lot of people that made that left comments, um, but I would love to hear from some people. Mm. Y'all want to answer that question personally, John?
Um,
We treat mental health. You know what? How can I do this? There we go.
well,
No, it says we treat mental health as if it is a personal choice. It is a condition. Oh
mm,
God.
yeah.
Oh
Uh,
God. Thank you,
if
Jose.
I were to review all the comments, and I want to thank everyone out there who replied. There were like 50,
58.
approximately 60. Yeah, it was like 50 something comments, and everyone had some very valid points. I'd say at least 99% of them. There were probably a few in there who were like off to the wayside, but
Mm-hmm.
we have a general grasp of the problem as a society. One comment that really stuck out that I remember is from Seal, and Seal made a very good point uh, in terms of giving the previous generations some grace. And I thought about that a lot over the past week,
Yes.
looking at this current problem that we're dealing with. All the problems that we see today didn't just come up today. Like, granted, we are in a different condition, cultural wise, institutional wise. We're under a different condition, but you really have to look back at the 80s, the 70s. What was the language that people were speaking back then? Mental
Mm,
health was not a word mainstream wise. Mental health was not a word, a concept mainstream wise. And yet, ideally, that would have been the most optimal time for us to get started on it. And some people did. It just wasn't the people of color, it wasn't the minorities. So it wasn't embedded into our culture to be mentally healthy people. We just had the presumption, right, that you had to be resilient. Again, we didn't have any of this access. So if it's not a cultural phenomenon, if it's not a cultural norm, how can you speak about something that you don't even have a language for yet?
mm.
So we go these
Do now.
we endure for these generations, right? We are in the generation now. This is it. Now that
Yeah.
the internet gave us more access. So now we can have more discussions publicly. Publicly, I'm saying.
Right.
And so these ideas, we have so much access to these ideas now. This is the time to do it. So if you think about where we were internet wise before 2010, what did we really have?
Telephone. Phone
And
book.
then people weren't talking like that online, right?
Mm-mm.
So if we weren't doing it in our households, if we weren't really doing it on the stage like that, like, I mean, just think about the TV shows that we watched back then,
Mm-mm. Right.
right? So a lot of us are discovering this through YouTube. And then mainstream media catches up. Then mainstream. So now it's becoming mainstream. So Seal was making a very good point about, giving some grace to our predecessors. They were
Right.
operating at the level that they knew how at the time. They weren't really
Right.
given much resources or much access. And I think that's another consideration. But ultimately what I gather is we can't even start the conversation in our families until we understand the language. We have to find the language to talk about, our experiences. And we're doing that every generation. We're figuring that out. Even for
Right.
kids. How can kids talk about things that have hurt them emotionally when they don't even have the capacity or the language yet? Likewise with adults, right? So if we as adults don't even have the language, how can we give that to them? How can we expect them to get it all of a sudden when we don't even have it? So they're going to look at us the same way that we're looking at our grandparents, our uncles and aunties. Like, dang, why didn't you guys figure this out yet? How did you guys not figure this out yet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So a little bit of
Right.
grace. We got to be a little bit more graceful.
Grace and some forgiveness, and don't blame. You
And
can't
just
blame them.
understanding.
Yeah, you
I
can't
also
blame
think
them.
that the reason why a lot of people responded to that particular post
Mm-hmm.
is it seemed to align with what happened last week with the mass shooting at the
Mm-hmm.
school. So it seemed to be connected to that because everyone always asks that question: what's up with the family? This kid, right? We're saying this kid had to have come
Mm-hmm.
from a family. So what was their family unit looking like? What were their family values? How was he parented? It becomes a mental health issue because deep down inside, we're making choices, right? Deep down
Mm-hmm.
inside, we all know that we're making choices, but you're making choices, as Hosea said, within conditions. So, what if
Right.
you're operating in a dysfunctional condition? So, at some point,
Damn.
we start to ask the question of, dang, is it really the institution? Is it really the laws? Yeah, yeah, that's part of it. It's
That's
not, and we tend to be myopic about the problem. As a culture, when something like this happens, we think, oh, it's an external problem. One problem isn't caused by one cause. Like there's no direct line of one cause. It's a multitude of things. So we're realizing that mental health plays a part in this. We're realizing that family dynamics play a part in this. We realize that economics plays a part in this. We realize that the academic culture or the school culture plays a part in this. We realize that our laws, our policies play a part in this. It's a lot of things. It's not just one thing.
right.
But when they
Right.
looked at that, a lot of them felt like, dang, yeah, this hits home.
Mm.
Would these shootings happen in our nation if everyone were healthy? That's the question.
No.
Would they happen? And here we are, we're thinking, oh, violence stops violence. The thing that created the violence in the first place is going to be the thing that ends the violence.
Hmm.
That's our logic in this country. That's our logic. In order to stop violence, you need to use violence. You need to use the same thing that created the thing. That's
Mm.
our mentality in this country. And it spreads across in other facets of our existence.
Right.
So if you say healing or love is necessary to abate violence, to neutralize violence, it's like, no, that's weak. That's our mentality. Okay. You look at other countries that don't have this problem, their culture is different, right? Their culture is different. Granted, they have mental health issues over there, but to the degree of the United States, which is a superpower that has all this wealth, all these resources, mental health is not a priority here. And we know this. We know this as a country. And until we change that dynamic on the mainstream, and we're working at it, but something that I can appreciate more now than ever is that change is very slow. And the reason why it's slow is because everybody doesn't agree on what the change should look like. So we might agree on the outcome, but because we don't agree on the measures, there's a resistance. If you don't agree with how I say change should come about, you're likely, pop, no, 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 we're not doing that, John. And if there's 2 million people, 2.1 million people that represent your position, and there's 3.5 million represent my position, there's a tug of war going back. And the longer we keep debating and the longer we keep disagreeing, the change keeps being put on layaway. We cannot
Thank you
change
for
this.
sharing. Sorry, go ahead.
We cannot change this institutionally because you got resistance. Even in a democratic society, we say we can agree to disagree on some things. Yes, we can afford to disagree on some things. We can afford to do that. But at some point, we got to start agreeing a lot faster so that we can get to this work.
Do you see your boy? Do you see
Yeah,
Hosea?
I see
Hosea,
him.
Hosea, 832-318-6966. Call.
Mm,
Pick up that
I want to
phone
ask
and
you
yeah, because we don't change the conditions that created the problem.
I
hmm
want to add
It
to what you said. Like even with change, I think we live in fear of the fact that even with change, it's not going to be immediate. So even with trying to break any type of generational curse from whatever angle, due to lack of resources and tools,
mm,
at some point we have to accept that the change that we ultimately are looking for,
it's going to take time.
it's going to outlive us.
ooh,
Mm,
hmm
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's a reality that nobody wants to accept, because we're looking for it to be right now, like immediate,
right now.
hmm
and that becomes an issue. But you did hit the nail on the head in several key points, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Um, because if you taking the time to live in the, like I say, this generation right now, which is, I agree to disagree. Well, if you agree to disagree, loss of communication means that you're not receiving what the other person is saying. You're not even trying to take the time out to understand what the other person is saying, which is part of the reasons we have mental health issues. We're not understanding that the other person may have went through a trauma or is going through a trauma or reliving something of their past that they haven't got to a point to let go of. I'm not saying all cases fall in that criteria of the characteristics of the things I'm saying. I'm just saying that we have to be willing to accept what the other person is talking about to get an understanding and communication. But that's I like how you put that. That was heavy. I appreciate that.
Always. Both of y'all. Always. Hosea, where you at? Go ahead and pick up that phone and call in. The number is 832-318-6966 for anyone that want to call in. We are discussing mental health in a Black family. Why are we not having this conversation um, with our family right now? Now, as John pointed out, back in the 80s, we didn't have that language. Couldn't. Now that we have access to all of this information, we should be sitting down. But what does that look like?
hmm
Don't look like the club.
I don't go to the club. That ain't decided me. Oh, hold on. Who do I have on the line this evening? Hi, Hosea.
Hey,
We are doing good. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
So first thing I want to say is, like John mentioned earlier, from 70s, 80s, 60s, we have made a lot of progress in
Okay.
our mental health. It's just a lot of changes in our, there have been a lot of changes in our environment. But back to the main topic, how do we talk about this with our families?
Right.
I think we got to get back to simple things, having dinner with the family.
ooh,
TV for a little while, and
wow,
watching people's behavior and asking the kids questions. It doesn't have to be
mm,
so deep. It just needs something. It just needs to be more consistent. Having
Mm.
family outings, going out, doing things together, and just watching everybody in the family to see how they're feeling. But at the today in this hustle culture, this hustle world, we get so caught up in our own lives that we forget everybody else. You know, because most of us are in this deep survival mode. So we got to take our time and again have that family dinner. That's where it starts. It doesn't have to be that complicated. You don't have to be a therapist. Just sit down with your family and have dinner and talk about and just talk about the topics that are going on, so you can gauge how your family is doing. You know, meet your meet your kid's friend. So you want to make your house comfortable, you know, so you can see what they are attracted to and who they like and things like that. You know, so it doesn't have to be that complicated. So we just gotta take the time to be more welcoming to our neighbors and to the people in our households. When it comes to the family, at least that's my family. You know, I want to see who my daughter likes and who her friends are and what type of music and who she hangs out with.
Right.
You know, I don't want to ignore those things, so I can gauge how she's doing in life. But yeah, that's all for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you as always. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
All right.
Wow. All right. I like
Something as
that.
simple, yeah. Having dinner. We don't do that. Are we sitting down with our families having dinners? Or we're constantly on our phones. We're constantly watching TV.
Yeah.
For me, and I'm a workaholic. I'm constantly on the move, going somewhere. Oh my God. Sit down, dinner, put the phones down. What's
Talk
going
about your
on?
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how was your day? What's going on?
Do the what's on your mind at the dinner table.
Yeah, what's on your
At the dinner. Do it at the dinner table, not on Facebook.
And that's how you begin to have that conversation about mental health in the family.
And like you said, it ain't got to be that deep. He said it ain't
It
got to
ain't
be
got to
that
be
deep.
not right now.
Hey,
Not right now, but
John.
once
Hey, John, we got to be careful now. We're talking about putting down social media.
Oh shoot.
Hey, we
Oh.
we we little people. We ain't trying to go up against no juggernauts.
you know what? Yeah, but
I
we
mean, but
dropping
really think about
jewels
that, though.
to our
Think about
people.
that, sis. Think about that.
Yeah.
If in between the hours of 4 and 8, people are actually sitting down having constructive conversations in the home front.
Mm.
You know how many TV pro? You know how many social media? Never mind. I digress.
Yeah.
The attention is not out
Yeah.
there. It's in the
Yeah.
house.
It's in the house. It's you focusing on your children. It's you
But
engaging with your
here,
children.
here's the great thing about it, and I get it. You know, on a grand scale, I get it. But our nation does not see how there would be a market for all of this. Imagine if mental health was a priority. What would be produced, culturally speaking, economically speaking, as a result? Can you imagine the rebranding of certain companies just to appeal to that dynamic? If family mental health was a cornerstone in this country, you would have a lot of companies
Yeah,
rebranding to say we support that,
yeah,
and they would be
You
willing to
would.
put money behind it.
You
Hey,
would.
I mean, just something as simple as, all right, when you guys have family dinner, now you're probably gonna hear more companies coming out that's like, all right, we know you guys are busy. How about we create these ready to eat meals for you guys, so that you
TV
can
dinners.
focus more.
They got those already. Yeah.
Right. But I
They got,
mean, but it would
yeah.
be restructured because it's family health. So it can't
Mm.
just be quick. It has to be
organic.
quality because these are healthy people, right? So they're
Yeah,
gonna
AJ
be
yeah,
they're
Love,
gonna be health
AJ.
conscious, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
Right.
the culture would change dramatically if it was centered on that. And they would just, I mean, of course it's gonna be some surface level stuff, but the point of this is I understand that given the current paradigm we're under right now, mental health is not profitable now. So it's not a priority because it's not profitable. but it can be, albeit there wouldn't be any authenticity in a lot of this, but still, at least we're moving in that direction where it could be authentic, where there's
Right.
companies that truly care about the family's mental health and their practices in nurturing that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I was saying that to Newborn's point though, about what it might potentially, like, oh no, we can't have that, you taking money out of our.
Facts.
And that's how it would be in today's world. That's how it would be viewed. We as the people don't realize how much power we have. We can shut a store down just by not shopping there no more.
Well, see, that's the thing. That go back to what John said. So, and then
Mhm.
also with family dinners, and what both of you saying are real heavy, 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 heavy key
Yeah,
points. If you continue to keep the certain culture families separated
distracted.
and distracted, and they never come together to work as a unit or
Mhm.
as a team,
Right.
they don't have social skills for real. So
Whew.
we're actually trying to keep a certain type of mental issues going on to keep feeding the machine itself.
Hmm.
Mm,
Which is the corporation.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, think about something as simple as, and I ain't trying to get off subject, but something as simple as, um, you're told to go to school, get an education, get a job, work for 40 plus years so you can get 401k and pension and benefits.
Mm.
You don't go to school to get told entrepreneurship. You can start this business, get this trade,
We
create.
go to school, we taught how to work for someone else.
mhm.
They're teaching you how to work for someone else. I don't remember hearing about being an entrepreneur in school.
All right.
That's something that I learned outside of school. They're not attempting to get you ready. They're keeping you in the rat race. Every I, this is a side note from what we're talking about, but just my opinion. Every city is set up like a high school.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Sit back and look at it. Every city is set up like a high school. Everybody is clicked up. You have your haves and your have-nots. Um, of course, you have your sports teams.
Mhm.
It's just that's just who we are. And keep us distracted, keep us busy with this and that. We have commercials and advertisement that keep us going, and it ain't about being healthy and mental health. They
Ain't
don't
no
want to
money in
keep
it.
us living long.
Ain't no money in it.
Ain't no money in it. No, the money is in the treatment of the disease you're going to get from the food that's being advertised to you. Just, let me just stop.
McDonald's 5 billion and counting.
Sold. And they came out a couple of years ago saying that they use pink meat, pink something, pink,
You
some
talking
type
about paste?
of pink
Mm,
paste to put in their burgers.
Yeah, it's called filler.
The
mhm.
filler. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a case of fries somewhere that's been sitting under a glass for years that have not molded. And this is real. This is for
Yeah, it's
real.
real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah.
You
Hey, but you know
know,
what's crazy though? Since we on mental health, I mean, cut you off, sis. We on
yes,
mental health. Let's talk about how crazy this is. You know these things, right? But yet it don't stop a person
it
from
don't
going.
Mhm.
it don't stop that car line from being around the corner in the morning
Mhm.
You know what I'm
time
saying? Don't stop nothing.
for them sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits.
Even when they found out Coca-Cola had actual Coke in it,
Oh,
Did you know they sales went up?
It ain't funny, but it's real.
I mean, that's mental health though.
Although in a lot of other countries, everything shuts down around 6. And Sundays, everything is closed. We
Mhm.
don't sit still here. No, we do not.
Mhm.
That is apparent in a lot of major cities. You can go to Vegas and look out the window at 3 o'clock and swear up and down, like, where are these people going? And it's just like constantly around the clock. New York, same way. All these big places, they don't sleep. We also have to be mindful of our choice of doctors. Some doctors are mental health too. Hmm.
I'd like to address a
Careful.
factor in all of this,
Go
and
ahead.
we can pose this as a question:
Go right ahead.
Has individualism eroded the concept of a family? Has
Fuck.
individualism eroded the concept of
I'm
family? Because
sorry.
individualism is a core tenet. It's a core principle in Western
Yeah.
ideology.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Damn. Yeah,
So
that's
how?
Yes.
So
I mean, you knew. Yes, absolutely.
all right.
Even it's
So
in our music, it's in the movies that we watch. I'm
mm,
out for self. I'm looking out for self. And nobody can't look out for me but me. We talk about it all the time. Independent woman. We do we yes. It's all
independent.
about singling us out. Yeah, hell yeah.
It's kind of
You know,
ironic.
they're
It's kind of ironic, right?
when was the
Now,
last movie? Go ahead.
so we have these two seemingly contradictory ideals, and they shouldn't be contradictory
Mm-hmm.
because the individual is still the 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 core ingredient of a family. Like a
Mm-hmm.
family literally represents individuals in
Mm-hmm.
harmony in one unit, unifying,
Right.
right? So without the individual, you can't have the family, and the
Right.
family composes of the society, right? Or
Right.
rather, it composes
Right.
of the community, and then the community composes of the society, right? But with this increase in individualism in the Western world, you have to wonder what type of effect that has on the family, on the concept of a family. Now, I know for people of color groups, um, communalism is still somewhat a prominent ingredient. We still celebrate it, but it also seems to be slowly eroding, with each generation. So
We
you have to
celebrated on
wonder, huh?
we celebrated on holidays.
uh,
That's when
So
we get to yeah,
so
holidays,
so there's
birthdays.
also the question of if you're
Mhm.
promoting individualism, what happens to family traditions? What happens to family values? Right? One of the key functions of a family is to socialize and nurture the youth. We are in families to support each other, right? And we're trying to carry forward certain messages that we received for the survival of the species, for the survival of the family. Oh, go ahead and read that. Yeah, go ahead and read that from
Yeah,
J.
let's
Rob.
say for instance, I'm damaged. I go see a doctor and he is damaged. And he damages me even more, sends me
Mm,
home to my family more damaged than I was before I visited. There is a real thing when in the healthcare field when they say that black women and white women are different when it comes to the treatment, and it is true. It is black women are more to die from childbirth. Hello, Miss D. How are you? You better make sure you hit this phone line, honey bunny. 832-318. Was it 318 or 316?
318.
318-6966. But there's a difference in the way that we are treated. They think that we can tolerate more pain, that we lied. When it
Mm,
comes to we die, it's more of us dying from childbirth than it is white women. They do not take our symptoms serious. There's actually a book out there, I wish I still had it, where it said that looking us directly in our eyes was a sign of disrespect.
Mm.
I was like, wow, the cultural differences. We do not get the same treatment. Oh, hey, Miss D, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I, I'm good. Are you following along with tonight's show? We're talking about why is mental health not talked about in Black families. Do you want to add to that?
Yes, I feel as though that it's not talked about in Black families because of the way that it to me this it's not a fact, but it's just like it's my personal fact. The way that our mind was prone as slaves, you know, we so used to being hush mouth. And when it came down to the Black family, I'm gonna take it personal because it's in my family. Back in the days, the elders used to say whatever goes on in the house stays in the house.
Right.
So it's just and mental illness was looked upon as a disease, like something bad. You know. So there was a very like a subject you just don't even talk about in a Black family. They made it as a lifestyle, like, Bud is just crazy. Really, Bud is has a chemical imbalance. That would be the appropriate thing to say.
Right.
But the Black families, and us as a Black family, we just feel as though that's in our DNA to act a certain type of way.
Would you say we were pre-programmed? We were pre-programmed or programmed during slave days?
On the mental aspect, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Just
I just also feel as though that, like I said, mental illness was looked upon as just something that was just horrible. That and that's just what we run with even now today. And it's different. It's different, but mental illness is definitely real and it's hereditary.
Yeah.
Your great grandmother could have been schizophrenic, and it probably skipped your mom, your grandmother, and passed on to you. But on a spiritual aspect, I really believe all these man-made names like schizophrenia, bipolar, I really feel as though it's in my life. I look at things spiritually. It be a spirit that plays with your mind.
Do you have any advice for how families can get started on talking about mental illness or mental health?
The best way is always the right way, meaning the real way. Talk about it. What is there to be ashamed of? When you love somebody, you want them to be well, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally.
Right.
So, I mean, all you could do is just keep on putting the awareness out there, and maybe, that will touch some families to know that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, I've been posting it all month. Yes. Do you think religion has played a role in how we perceive mental illness in the family?
Religion, there's two different things. No, we just spiritual beings, and we is amongst, spiritual things.
Right.
And like everything is man-made. That's just, I ain't gonna say that's a scientific fact or it's a fact, but I have had personal experiences, and I know it is a spirit. Mental illness is a negative spirit that attacks your mind. And when your mind is attacked, it attacks your body, your physical.
Okay.
Because it's always mind over matter.
Okay. So it attacks your mind first. Okay.
when it comes down to mental illness. That's a
Okay.
whole different ball game from cancer and HIV, etc. You
Okay.
know, it's mind over matter. They have doctors that have told people, hey, you have 6 days to live, 6 months to live, and the people gonna outlive the doctor who told them that.
Yeah, I see that all the time. I see it
Yes.
all the time.
So
I
I'm a
will.
firm
Yeah.
believer.
Yeah. I will. I can contest to that. I see that all the time.
Yes, but to answer your question, yes, mental illness need to be reiterated in the Black family. Why it's not? Because we was prone to think that there was something such as like a disease, or you was going to be looked upon as a certain way. And that's just what it is. That's just a programming of the mind. I feel as though that comes way before we was born.
Okay. Do you think mental health will become a more common discussion in future families?
I don't think it will be a common discussion as far as in the right way, meaning the educating way,
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen so many children, parents, oh, you crazy, oh, something wrong with you, or you got ADHD, throwing those words out there. And the children is absorbing this to where they grow up and really not knowing that they can get help for this.
Okay.
They just think that's just something that is a part of their character.
Take a
And
pill.
it's
Mm.
a mental illness.
Okay.
Like like negativity coming from the parent. If y'all following me, if you the energy, if you giving negative energy to somebody and pouring negative into somebody, as a child, eventually they're gonna grow up in that's what they're gonna believe
Mm.
until they get around somebody to know that it's okay not to be okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. So it sounds like families need more education on mental illness.
Correct.
So should it
Correct.
be the
Yes.
responsibility of the schools or the family?
It starts at home first.
Mm.
Everything.
Woo! Mm.
Outlet for children to express themselves
Yeah.
freely, but the education starts in the home, and that's the main thing that we has failed our children on. We throw our children in school to get the lunch, to get the education. These teachers, principals, etc., have families of their own that they have to have structure with.
Mm.
It's our duty to make sure our children is okay and let
Right.
them know it's okay not to be okay, and I am here for you.
Right.
So that's a whole nother subject, but it starts at home.
Mm. Miss D, I want to thank you for calling in. I know you've been trying to catch my show all month.
Yeah, just work.
You,
I tell you, just working.
it's okay, but I want to thank you for calling in. You have been gracious. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Thank you. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye. Right on the money. Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm sorry, Miss J Love. This is a safe space here. Oh, hold on.
Miss J Love.
Who am I speaking with?
J Love.
Turn us down in the back, love.
J Love. Who am I speaking with? J Love. Turn us.
You got it.
Hey.
Wait a minute. Can you hear me? You sound kind of far away.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. How are you doing this evening?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, I'm shy. This is my first time for me, so I'm calling in.
Okay.
But I want to kind of rewind back a little bit.
Go
So
right ahead.
when you were talking about health care for the Black women, white women, or anybody of a different race or whatever.
Yes.
And see, people don't understand that when a person comes into their doctor's office, they don't know who that person is. That could be a person already damaged. Because you know, we carry a lot of weight on our shoulders.
Absolutely.
But sometimes we bump into a doctor that is practically mental health itself and got a lot of issues itself.
Right.
I say that to say this. Last week I had a trying week. I went to the doctor for help for a hangnail. My hangnail was infected. When I went into the doctor's office, I was already frightened about how they was like approaching me and stuff like this. And the doctor did a procedure on my finger, right?
Okay.
Before he did the procedure on my hand, he went to say, well, he didn't give me that much numbing medicine. So that was an indication to me that we don't have enough numbing medicine or whatever. Anyways, he did the procedure improperly. He squeezed my hand so hard till I screamed to the top of my lungs twice. And I'm a damaged person, and I'm premeditated. I overthink things, and I must admit I have some mental health issues. But since I have went through that trauma, I have came home. I have been so troubled. I have been unable to cook. I have been down in the dump, and I've also almost like went back into isolation. Like it is a serious factor that how we as Black women, we get treated when we seek help from a doctor. Even as far as when we seek help from mental health doctors. Like I have seen doctors that didn't take me serious or look at me like, oh, she's not telling the truth or she's extra or something like that about my own, or like about my issues. And I just want to bring awareness to us going to the doctors and stuff. We have to be careful,
right?
Because I'm already a person that's trying to overcome my obstacles.
Right.
As well as I have a friend guy that now he's scared crapless to go to the doctor, and he's mental health. Now he's scared crap to go to the doctor for his liver problems because of what they've done to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm saying to myself, like, what can we do if we're just straight fighting of the medical system? You know?
Right. Okay, I'm going to let you know now that you do have the right to file a complaint against him.
If you only knew the trouble it caused, and
you can file a complaint against him, and it will follow him wherever he goes.
But then again, I'm alone. I'm a mother of two girls. I live in this town. This is where my family goes if they're sick. This is where I go if I'm sick. This is where my mama goes if I'm sick. So I'm fighting to even like speak up.
I understand that, but you're probably not the only one.
And I'm just not opening up. I'm just not being able to talk to people.
Right.
I'm just not being able to come on platform
right.
because of my past trauma.
It's okay.
I've been through.
It's okay, but I want you to be strong enough to file a complaint so that that this doesn't happen to someone else.
Yeah.
Please. I will help you. I will help you file this complaint. You give me the city and the state, this man's name. Yeah. I'll be more than happy to help you with this.
And then it's like he was crazy. I call him a mad doctor. Because he cut such a tiny slit in my finger that no infection could come out. Nothing could come out of that tiny hole. And then he took my hand with both of his hands, not one hand, to press. He took literally both of his hands and pressed down on my finger with all of his might. I screamed loud as I could. Did no other nurse come in?
So wait a minute. Hold on.
nothing
Hold on.
happened.
Time out. Time out. Time out. He did this procedure by himself in the room with no one else there.
No doctor there. No nurse
Okay.
there.
You need to file a complaint. It is like posting a review on Amazon. You need to file a complaint. I am
definitely
so
do.
serious.
So now here I am. Here I am already damaged. And then I'm sitting like already hurt. I'm fighting against whatever all my battles, overcoming obstacles, and then boom, just like a brick wall I done ran into because he didn't care about who I was. He just was evil and just like almost gave me a setback on my journey.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I have willpower within me,
Right.
and I have the love of me and my girls. So I know that I can't let him knock me down. I have to continue to fight.
And you have to file a complaint against him.
And I will. But screwed up.
Yeah.
Here I am, a mental health patient, and you wanna damage me to even more. That's
Right.
crazy.
And that's even more of a reason to file a complaint against him. He doesn't need to be working on anyone else.
I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand. That was, and I'm serious. I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
Right.
I wouldn't wish, I wouldn't wish that on no one. And here I am already gathering myself, trying to move forward with my life, but I still got that vision in my head, like where he stuck me vigorously and squeezed my freaking finger vigorously. Mm-hmm. So can you understand how
I do
trying to be strong?
I do, and this is the reason why you file a complaint against him.
Ma'am.
You write it all down from the moment you walk through the door, your experience, who greeted you, paperwork, conversation, who was in that room from the beginning of that procedure to the end of that procedure.
So now that I live here, where am I to go for health care if I speak on this man?
He is not the only doctor. He is
Where
not.
am I to go now?
He is not the only doctor there.
That's tough.
That's not tough. You cannot. And that's
do what needs to be done.
Yes, do what needs to be done, and we can't use that as an excuse. Well, where am I supposed to go now, or what am I supposed to do now? We have a person that's in a position of power because he's a doctor, and he's hurting patients. You don't have to settle for that.
Girl, I never, out of all my years, I'm 38 years old.
Mm-hmm.
As I concentrate on my life, as I look down my life, I can say I have never, ever felt that type of pain before.
Mm-hmm.
I have never felt that type of physical pain ever before in my life.
Okay.
Not in childbearing, not in anything.
Right.
That was one of the worst days of my life, and I will always remember him.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for calling in with this.
No, it's okay. You're fine. You're fine.
Maybe next time I'll be talking something different, like
it's
how
okay.
I overcame.
How you overcame this, how you filed a complaint against him. Yeah. You keep us updated.
I overcame this.
Right.
I overcame this.
Absolutely. You keep us updated. We're here every Sunday at 7:00.
Thank you so much for listening.
All right, no problem.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. I want to go back to some of the comments. Oh, I hate when I do that. Okay. Hold on. Oh, shoot it. In most African American homes, mental health is overlooked because they don't wear the jacket, or they don't want to wear the jacket. Or hold on. I'm trying to read it all. And in some African American homes, it's taken advantage of for checks.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's my 8 o'clock alarm. I'm sorry. Yeah, she should report him malpractice. Okay, let me go back down. Let me go back up. Having to remember the pain of what created the mental health in the family stops the conversation. No
Shoot.
one wants to be the spark to start the conversation. It means you have to find out something about someone you love and look to may have created this situation. Sexual and physical abuse, which leads to mental health issues. With that, families are held together by false feelings. Dre, Dre, call in.
Mm.
That was from Dre.
Yeah.
Dre, where you at? If you're watching right now, I need for you to call in, brother.
Dre
Mm-hmm.
watching, he always
That
watching.
was it. That was it right there. You don't want to start the conversation. Oh my God.
Accountability.
Don't whoa. Oh my God.
If you take what that young lady that just called in, what Dre said, and several of the other conversations,
Yeah.
back to what Miss D said,
Oh, thank you, Miss D.
it all still starts at the home front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if accountability can start at the home front, and we start outing in the home front though those that are causing pain within
Yes.
the family.
Yes.
The hardest part about that is being able to create safe practices
Mm.
and safe environments to even hold those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Wow.
lady said,
Non-judgmental.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard for a child, like I had said some last week, it's hard for a child to look at the very person that is of authority in the home front, but it's
Mm.
also the accuser.
Mm.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? I said that I brought that up last week. Like, what do you do when that's the issue?
Damn.
If mama is
Yeah.
constantly beating you, or if dad is sexually assaulting you, or brother, you know what I'm saying? That
Yeah. What do you do?
what do you do?
This
But at
is
some point,
oh,
it has to be had, and like John said, accountability, and I don't know, you got to get rid of this individual ideology, because most of this stuff happens because everybody on their individual kick.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
So you're not gonna have no family structure.
Mm.
I'm gonna get mine because I see you getting yours, you
Yeah.
getting yours, or I
Yeah.
ain't getting mine, or you getting yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we kind of paying attention to the grass being greener on the other side instead of trying to,
Water our own grave.
right there, that boy, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's
To
just
add,
difficult. Go ahead, John. My bad.
I was gonna say to add to your point there. Again, when we talk about these things, the question is, what does it look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So often we're talking about a conflict in the family, and you bring up an issue in a family that doesn't have a model for conflict resolution. What do you do when something like this comes up? Your family has never had to come forward as a whole unit and say, this is a problem, let's repair it. Usually
Mm.
it's, this is a
No.
problem, let's quietly push this off to the
Yep,
side.
yep,
Yeah.
We can't,
yep.
because we don't have the intelligence, we don't have the strength, we don't have the resources, we don't have the capacity to deal with this in the light. We don't know
Right.
how, even though the simple solution is love, but we also are not equipped with the emotional intelligence because we
Mhm.
moralize a lot of things, right? So hence it goes back to what you were saying, having a safe space. There's
Mhm.
shame in wronging another person, right? There's usually
Mhm.
shame that comes with it. But what do we
Yeah.
do? We come with more shaming behaviors. We come with more guilt tripping. And we think that remedies the problem, that if I make them feel bad enough, they'll correct themselves. So that's like our ultimate solution here is, let me make people feel bad, or let's make a bad example out of this, and we'll show the family, and it will prevent or discourage that behavior in the future.
Mm.
The ignorance is, if they were socialized this way, we could even go as far as to say what we said in the beginning, the genetic predisposition. You came into this world with this sickness, and it's in the generation, it's in your family lineage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
previous generations didn't deal with it. And so here it is, you've been given this sickness, and the family
Right.
shuns you away. Like, yo, this is a family curse. And instead of coming together as a family to resolve it, you say, let's bury it in the dirt while it's still alive. And so it's producing more bad fruit each lineage, and the problem compounds because it has its own effects. So we need to have the resources to first create the safe space to say, all right, this is what we're doing, and this is love. This is love. That's hard, especially for a black family. That's
Mm.
hard to say, all right, we don't agree with what you did, and we're going to separate the behavior, the wrong, from who you are. That's
Mhm.
hard for us. That's hard for us to do. And
Mhm.
again, it takes an intelligent person to do that, to say, this is not who you are. What you just did, that's not who you are. So let's talk about this. Let's figure out, why did you do it? Right? Because if you get to the root of why it happened, which again, we like to oversimplify the problem. If I don't have to dive in and understand why you did it, your motivations, what caused you to do it, if I don't have to do that, I could just say, you were wrong. Here's the solution. Here's the prescription, and I don't
Mhm.
have to work. I did my part. But on the surface, we are family. On the
That part. Yeah.
surface,
Yeah. Yeah.
got to have this image of the family. Family reunions, we got the photos, got grandpop in them. On the surface, we look good. We always gonna look good when we're suffering. We always gonna look good. Got to make sure. Can't
Yeah.
Outside the
let
house,
everybody.
you portray yourself to being a loving mother, a loving father. We're a family. We are a unit. We're joined together. But inside that house, that's where the abuse
And
takes
there's an
place.
incentive. There's an incentive for what you just said, right? We want
Mm.
that because there's a social reward. If you look like you got it together as a parent, if you look like you got it together as a family, how are other people going to perceive you as a family? Doesn't that feel good when somebody says, man,
He
those
got it
Smiths over
together.
there, man, those
He
Smiths,
got it
man,
together.
oh man, those Henrys, yo, man, those Johnsons, oh man, them Johnsons is on point. They're a
Mm-mm.
pillar in our community, right?
Mr.
So,
Dre, pick up that
oh, go ahead.
phone. Mr. Dre, I see your comment. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone.
I mean, but even with what you saying, John, you still got those that portray that they on point, even in their family.
Ooh, ooh,
You know what I'm saying? Because when they come to the family unit, they shine. They looking good. But you know, when 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 he pulled up, and I hate to put it on the men, but it happens. You know, that's Unc. Unc got that bread. Unc makes stuff happen. Matter of fact, Unc paid for the family reunion, the T-shirts, the photo booth,
Oh,
7 pounds of chicken. But he also raped Keisha.
Mm.
So when Keisha go to say, "Mom, Unc did such, my brother ain't do nothing."
Yep.
Now Keisha suffering in silence all over again. Even though I'm speaking of a hypothetical situation, I'm also speaking of a situation that's an actual reality. Like we are, man. I'm gonna say this as plainly as I can say it. We're generationally fucked up.
Mm. Say it,
When,
baby.
when me and John had the conversation and we talk about like it go from this problem to this situation to this issue to this generational curse to this trauma to this PTSD to you got all these somatic systems, what they call them compound interest.
Mm.
So you may speak
Mm.
on this one particular thing, but it opens a door to this particular thing, which opens up another door to this particular thing. So you hit this one little secret that's been in the family for 4 generations.
Mm. Yeah.
And then like you get to the root of everything and you be like, wait. So I was born out of my mom that's actually
Who do we have on the line right now? Hold on.
go ahead. Hope
Wait
that's
a
Drake.
minute. Ooh, wait a minute.
I hope that's Drake.
It is Dre speaker. Okay, there you go. Dre, can you hear me?
Yeah, I do.
All right, go ahead. Oh man, yo.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I'm a little reluctant to call on nothing, because that family thing is a big topic, man. I just believe, like I posted, man, like no one wants to believe, that this person did that. I mean, like, no one wants. They believe it, but don't want to accept the fact that the brother or the uncle may have done this to that other person, And then you don't want, like you said, you don't want to. They don't want to be shunned. You don't want to out that person. Like, I don't know. This one was kind of tough, man. I really wasn't gonna call it, man, because I've had some things in the past, man. That I don't really speak on, but yeah, it's just it's okay. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one, man.
I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in your voice.
This one kind of touched the soul right there.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man, everything I agree with everything y'all saying. I just want to call and tell y'all, man, I appreciate y'all. I tell y'all all the time, but I appreciate y'all, man. Much love.
Yeah, I have a question before you go. Is your family important to you, Dre?
Go ahead.
Is your family important to you?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah.
In what way?
Go ahead.
In what way?
On every aspect, from the love I received, the love they had, from everything they had accepted from me, and standing by me through everything that I've been through, all my mental health issues that I've been through, I've had a problem because a lot of people, some of the things that I think you could force feed. I think with them, like with my military issues, they had to be kind of force fed because they didn't know what to expect. When I came home, so I kind of I had to force feed them everything, and it all comes out at one time, and it's kind of hard for them to. I ain't gonna say accept it, but it's just the fact, to what's kind of accept that it's coming. I don't know. I don't know how to put that. But I had to kind of force feed them everything that I was missing.
Okay. Oh man. Do you have anything you want to add, Mr. John Skywalker?
I want to ask him. Do you have any advice for any families out there that would like to get the topic started on mental health? Like, just assuming that those families um, are dysfunctional, they're disrupted. Like, should it be the elders? Should it be the youth? Who should get the
Who
conversation
should start the
started?
conversation? Who should start the
Well,
conversation?
I believe what has happened is now that this generation has been to teach the older generation about the mental health, that this mental health issue it's a real deal. Because like the one caller said that we were trained, they were trained to say keep it in the family. But now
yes,
we don't want to keep it in the family. We want it has to be fixed, but at the same time, I think the first thing that has to happen is somebody has to say something, but then the next thing is somebody has to listen.
Right.
So if I'm telling you that this happened when I was a kid, or this happened, don't say, oh, just it'll be okay. No, understand where I'm coming from, because I guarantee you, if it happened to me, I guarantee you it happened to somebody before me.
Oh, definitely. Right.
So I think I think our generation has opened that door. So, to showing them that, hey, look, shit has happened. It's okay for you to talk about it. I might not be your elder, but I can listen. I can understand. Therefore, when I tell you, you can do the exact same thing.
Okay. Yeah. So it's gonna come down to us doing it. It's gonna come down to us doing it.
We have to break it for the generations below us. So when it happens to them, they'll be able to do the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's small changes that's going to trickle down. Small changes. Just like we were taught to shut up, now we can teach our children to speak up.
Woo! Yeah.
So yeah. Definitely. It's going to take us to do it. Corey just said it. Corey White just said it. The young generation will have to do it. We can start it off right now. And then let our kids take the baton.
Yeah, they can carry the torch.
Yep.
It's going to be a gradual thing.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Overnight. King Newborn said that it's gonna happen when we're not even here. Yep. So yes, it will. Well, all right, Dre. I want to thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. We love your support. Keep it up, baby. Share the live on your page. I love it. Thank you. All right. Corey. Call. Corey White. I just said your whole name. Call. The young generation will have to do it. Yeah. But this is the start right here. How do you have the conversation? You start by having the conversation. And that is what we are doing right now. We are acknowledging that there are some things that need to have a light shined on in all those dark areas in our family. Mental health is real. We're not going to push it over the rug and say that, you're crazy. No, there's a reason why that you are behaving the way that you are. So let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's get to the root of it. and then go from there. There is nothing wrong with getting a counselor. There is nothing wrong with seeking out help. It is okay to not be okay. It's not okay to stay there.
Mm.
That is the thing. And we need to normalize mental health as that's what that's what oh yeah, I was feeling some kind of way. I went and seen me a counselor, was in therapy for a year, yada yada yada. Do what you feel you need to do for this up here. You only have one. That's it.
I know it's a challenge, but yeah.
What do you need me to help you do, Miss J Love?
Oh, that
How
is a good.
do guys suggest how do guys suggest people find help? Oh man.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
in our previous discussions,
yeah.
now if we're talking about just black, if we're just talking about black people, um,
Yeah.
so there are some websites out there. We know that in a lot of areas, and I'm not going to go too far on this tangent right here, but for a lot of areas, especially in my state, we rank
Mm,
number 48 out of 50 as it relates to mental health. We're 48. We're number
wow.
48. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they shrunk Medicaid here. So
Ooh.
Medicaid used to be tied into, the mental health facilities and such, right? So not only do you reduce the finances and the resources to access mental health, but the institutions are also being defunded. So it becomes privatized, and therefore only certain people can access it, right? So we we're recommending, for the most part, that you opt for telehealth. There's a lot of mental health deserts out here,
Yeah.
and I'm just looking at my state alone. It's like, yeah, you can't even do it locally, really. So the first thing that you have to do is, if you're working, um, oh, that's a good point. Call 211 and they can point you in the right direction. But if you're
Thank
trying to
you.
be proactive, if you're working, there is a high probability that you have healthcare insurance, and it's it's rolled into your package. So, consulting with your healthcare provider and asking them, hey, what's in the network? But also asking them if they would subsidize for telehealth. So there's a lot of telehealth resources out there. I know just for black men, you can go to blackmenheal.org. Um,
Yeah. Black
and
girls
then,
therapy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
And
So those are the two. Those are the first two that I would recommend. For minority populations. But overall, I would push for telehealth. That is a big thing for right now. A lot of people are kind of apprehensive about it. It's it's not really. It's still kind of new, but not really. A lot of health professionals are pushing for it in terms of having more access, and then just from a business model standpoint, if you're a therapist, you get more clients that way. So just from a client's perspective, you have more access. You have a higher probability of being aligned with a therapist that is culturally competent,
oh,
because you're not
absolutely.
limited. Yeah, you're not limited to just your county. You're, I could be getting mental health treatment for someone who lives in Arizona or someone who lives in Washington State. But opt for telehealth, folks. But I also would have to ask the question of, before you go reaching out, do you understand what your problem is? Like, do you at least have an awareness of the problem? That's one of the key questions that you need to ask yourself before you enlist yourself to a therapist. Figure out what your problem is so that you can communicate that.
Absolutely. And it's therapy for black girls. And when you go onto the site and it tells you to find a therapist, they will give you like several with different degrees on what they are competent in working with.
Hmm.
And it'll be all over your city and where you're at right now. So yeah. And J Love, yes, I will definitely be able to help you. All right.
Yeah,
Megan,
Talkspace is pretty
thank
good.
you. Call 211. They can point you in the right direction. Speak with your general MD if you have one. Absolutely. Thank you for that information, babe. It's my
Mm-hmm.
sister. It's my sister.
Oh.
That's
Mm.
the boss. She's the boss at work. Even though, and I'm the big sister, I still give her that fucking respect. I love it.
Well,
Are we
I'm gonna do just a quick pivot, right? Again,
okay?
because I really want to encourage people to start having these conversations, and it's a big question of what it looks like. It
I'm
like
sorry, who am
Hosea
I
said.
speaking with?
Hey,
Who am I speaking with?
Corey West,
Oh,
what you call it?
Ooh,
yes. Yes, the one I told to call. What did you wrote something that just I was like, oh
I wrote
no.
something about the
The
generation,
young
young
oh,
generations
generation.
will have to do it. Yes. Go ahead.
Mhm.
You
speak
want to
on
go
it.
ahead and speak on that?
Well, listening to, and I can use my family for example.
Okay.
We talk about a lot, like we didn't talk about a lot of stuff when we come up because of, oh, don't say nothing because this person does a lot of, this person, I will hear how to say this person does not hear, this person does not hear. But yet, they can say what they want to say, but we couldn't say what we want to say as a young generation. And we couldn't speak our mind as in that sense. But like now, me, even my sister, we talk about a lot of stuff. Like my mama could come to me and talk to me about stuff. And she may talk about another relative. And I'm like, well, you're telling me, let's talk about it by telling them so they can understand really what's going on. Because they may not think what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
That makes sense what I'm getting at.
Yes.
So it hinders a lot of can't get with this family because of I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings.
Mm.
I don't want to cause any friction in the family. And that does mess up a lot of family mentally. And a lot of family don't get together because we don't want to start no mess.
Mm.
Yes.
But the young generation now, like me, my sister, all my cousins, my grandma, grandkids, we can talk amongst each other about certain things. And we can talk to our parents about certain things. And we couldn't never talk to our parents about certain things, or our uncles or us about certain things. Now we starting to be able to do that. And they're starting to open more about it and make a dialogue about it. And it's starting to, you can see the no friction, but you see the smoothness of it. And I had to go through that once with I had to do that once up here in Augusta with my aunt. She's a drunk, no lie. But she cut the food one day, and nobody won't talk about it because they scared of whatever backlash. But she cut the food one day with my uncle friend, and it looked like it was trying to get physical, but everybody was just kind of quiet. I had to step up and shut it down and let them know, like, we don't do this. This is not what we're doing. And we talked about it, and you can see this. You can see the relief of it. So young generations want to speak about it, and I know it is. But like our generation, want to talk about it, but they scared. But they were scared then. But now they're getting older, and they're like, okay, how you feel? What's really going on? And you can see the relief on a lot of kids' faces when they can speak freely without getting a retaliation.
Right.
And so that way they can actually talk amongst each other and not be beefing with each other in that sense of, well, I can't say that to that person because this person might get mad or that person might get mad. It's just more of the dialogue because I talked to John. Me and John talked about a lot of stuff, and we talk about stuff like that as far as family mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, black family, even when we talk about black family mental health, and you think black family mental health is worse, is bad. be honest with you, white mental health is worse than ours. Because they're more mental. We can talk, but they can't talk. To this day, they can't talk. I'm not trying to bring an end on this, but it's worse. And the way we're starting to get better, I see it. It's still a work in progress, but we starting to get better as a black family.
Oh, yes.
And I deal with a lot. I mean, all my homeboys are married and got kids. And we dialogue amongst each other. That's up here in Augusta. We dialogue them, and I can see them talk amongst each other with their kids, with their wives, and with their family. And you can see it's the relief of how it is with the family. And they can talk about, like, man, I talked to my wife, talked to kids, and boom, everything has got better. However, but the kids are kind of bringing it more to can I talk to you freely? Like my son, he speaks his mind. I let him speak his mind to me. He talks to me. Sometimes it takes a minute, but talk to me. Because that's what I don't know where we're gonna be able to function. You gotta be able to talk to me.
Right.
And I don't want to shut it down to not let him talk to me.
Right.
Because that's gonna affect everything in the future. If I shut him down every single time he wants to speak his mind. So teaching a young generation, us as our generation is starting it. So we are still young generation. I don't think nobody on this phone is over 40 yet. We still a young generation that they still got to teach the ones that behind them. And we're starting that to teach the one behind us to be able to speak and talk about what's going on without being shut down.
Right.
Right. I wasn't going to call in. I was just going to listen, but you called me out. So I did. To do it.
I did, and I'll do it again and again and again and again.
I know you will. I know you will. One day, I hope y'all allow me to be show my face one day. I can talk about a lot of stuff with y'all, but something real big.
You want to be a co-host for that? No, we could do that.
I'll let John have to put me up for that one.
Yeah. Shoot, hey, if she's open, I'm open. Shoot, we could do that. We could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to having just strong people on here, strong-minded people, strong. So yeah, that I'm open to it. We can talk about it later on in the future. That'll be great, though. I want to thank you for your support and you're sitting back and you're watching us. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, and we look forward to.
Thank y'all for doing this. I mean, we need to talk about this. I mean, mental health is a serious thing. I mean, I talk about it to multiple people either in a way. I mean, I'm not educationally strong on it, but I know it's real.
You don't, yeah. You don't need a PhD to see that it is real.
Yeah.
You really don't.
You talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about it.
Yeah, and that's right here. This right here, conversation. How do you start it off? Someone's going to see this and it's going to and implement this. They're going to start doing it. They're going to have that conversation with their family. They're going to open up that closet door and go ahead and face that demon of theirs. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we're helping someone. We just don't know who it is yet.
Everybody that come on here and listen. I'm telling you, everybody that come on here and listen to y'all talk. And then they go back and they speak with someone else. It's gonna spread. It's just like we're going
just like that.
God or anybody else, it's gonna spread.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I receive it.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I receive it. Oh my God. All right, Mr. Corey. Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless you.
You too. Bless up. That was just like a little moment of silence because that was real. What he just said was real. They're listening to this conversation. They're going to take this conversation elsewhere with someone else and build on it. That is how you get the conversation started. Again, it is okay to not be okay. It's not okay to stay there. Mental health is real in families. It has been passed down from generation to generation. It has been acquired through trauma and sometimes genetics. We do not blame the last generation for how they raised us because they didn't have the tools.
Mm.
This generation right here now has the tools to make the changes moving forward. Now, we may not be around to fully see it, but we can start it right here, right now, just by having this conversation, starting it off. Mm. Anything you want to add, John? Because this has been great. This
Yeah.
has been a great conclusion to Mental Health Awareness Month.
Um, I do agree that our generation, we're we're right in the middle, and we are burdened with the responsibility of the awareness of the family dynamics, the family problems, the family issues, and seeking the resources, including the language, acquiring that and implementing that in the family. It's
Mm-hmm.
recognizing our role, it's recognizing our responsibility. That's why we're in
Mm-hmm.
the family. You're in the family to contribute something and receive something from the family. So something as essential as developing the language or introducing the language
Mm.
when it wasn't there before, you pioneer the family, you advance it forward. And that's how you innovate when it comes to family tradition. It is now a family tradition for us to talk about mental health. Think about that. It is a family tradition for us to talk about mental health. It is
A
a family
family
tradition. It's a
to
tradition.
communicate properly.
Right?
Communicate.
So, I mean, it does take on our part. And again, we all learn in different styles. You ain't got to buy a book because I know everybody gets bored with reading books. Audiobooks, visuals. There's plenty of
Mm.
documentaries out there. We
Oh
got
yeah.
YouTube. We're in the age of YouTube. You could just watch some
Yes.
videos on it and just you can learn that way, right? So the
Yeah.
information is out there, and it doesn't require a hefty investment time wise. You just need to do a little search instead of going on Netflix. Just do a little search on YouTube and just be interested. Be genuinely interested in learning the dialogue and then just sparking up the conversation. And of course, it's going to require a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of creativity, but I love the idea of doing it at the family table. And it's going to require some courage in terms of how to start it. Use yourself as an example to make an announcement and say, hey, I've been struggling with this right here, and this is what I'm doing about it. Is anybody else going through something like that? And then someone's like, yeah, I'm going through the same thing. It's like, so what are you doing about it, or what can we do to help you? Because again, the family isn't, if we are on the same wavelength when it comes to a sense of communal values, I am because we are, that principle. If you truly care about your family, you want them to prosper, you want them to win, you want them to be happy. And so you will be instrumental to them accomplishing that. You can show up to your niece's, but what about showing up in terms of them being successful mentally thereafter? All right, you're going to
Right.
college. Hey, it's going to be kind of stressful. Are you prepared for that?
Right.
Or, hey, here's something to look out for when you're, dealing with other men. Or, hey, son, this is what the small conversations. I have the conversation with my son. It's not every day, right? But one thing I will say, and then, I'm going to kind of pull back. If you can't do it with the bigger family, if you can't do it with the extended family yet, start small. You need to build your own model of what it looks like. Start with your
Mm.
kids. It's the
Yeah.
easiest place to go. It's the easiest place to go. And you
Right.
start off by being vulnerable yourself. Don't even focus on them yet. Be the model first. Show them what it looks like, and then they can mirror that. Don't make it seem like you got it together and then focus on them and bringing it out of them. Be the
Right.
model first, show them how it's done, and then you can invite them in to showcase whether they have uh, a mental problem or not. Something that we as Black people struggle with is being called lazy in lieu of being called crazy, the L word,
Mm,
C word. There's a difference between being depressed and being lazy, and both of them, like the laziness is a trigger. I'm saying this in lieu of what my son had experienced a few weeks ago. He said something to me where it was in a text message. He was just saying, I don't want you to think that I was being lazy, and he was just really asking for a sick day. Right now, there are times where he's lazy, very much, but as a family, we often overlook that sometimes because there's pressure on us. There's social pressure on us, societal, right? There's this stereotype that we're seen as lazy, even though we're some of the most hardworking in this country. I mean, we fucking built it, right?
right.
So to
Right.
gaslight, to gaslight us, right? And then we gaslight our children, like, oh, he just being lazy. What does that do to your children as they grow up, where they start overperforming, overachieving because they don't want to be perceived as lazy? They're already doing enough. They're doing the amount that is required of them, but they have to go above and beyond. These are your children growing up with this mentality. And
But we
so,
say that that's a cultural thing. You got to work twice as hard.
right.
That's a cultural thing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, in lieu of that, you have this stereotype, and you're afraid of proving that stereotype true because of what it does to your ego and your self esteem. But you, as the parent, you're supposed to be the gatekeeper of that. You're supposed to know when your child has the capacity to do it and when they don't have the capacity to do it. So, it could be something like you're taking your kids to school and you just ask that quick question. You just throw something out there. It's a quick jab. Hey, I want you to understand, I'm gonna be proud of you regardless of what you do,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's your worth, your value isn't dependent on your grades. Your value and your
Right.
worth isn't dependent on you making this team or you performing at this football game or this
Right.
basketball game. Your value or your worth isn't dependent on you doing or being accomplished. That's not where your value is. Your value is in existing. You got to do that early, letting them know. And it's hard. That's the hard part for us because we haven't been given that model. A lot of
Right.
us haven't been given that model. So we have to create the blueprint and we have to invent it and pass it on to say, all right, it wasn't given to me, but I know what is necessary. So I'm going to give this to my offspring. And then hopefully I can share this tip with my sister, with my brother, who also has kids. Say, hey, do this with them sometimes. Try
Right.
that out. See what it, right? And so again, that's in the family now. And so that becomes the norm. Something as simple
Right.
as you pick your kids up from school or when they come home from school, give them a space to depress. Something as simple as, hey, how was your day at school? And don't say good.
Right.
Tell me what happened.
Right.
Get
I
them
always
talking.
get the tea from my daughter. I love it.
So
Go
again,
ahead.
I'm mainly saying this because we can feel a sense of helplessness in terms of where to start. And, some of us have really big families, and there's a lot of authoritarians in the family, some very strong-headed people. So the easiest place to start is with the kids. And then when it starts
Absolutely.
showing up in the kids, if you're doing this with the whole generation of kids that's in your family, it'll manifest itself. And then when we're speaking to the elders, it just becomes this concerted effort, and they have no choice but to listen and just realize this is the thing now. This is what we're doing.
Right.
And there's more of us doing it than there are that's not. So you better get with the program because this is the
Mm.
new standard. We still gonna love you and respect you, but you got to respect that this is part of the family now. You have to, because you've given us what you've given us. Now we got to give you what we're giving you. This ain't. It's not you're better than, like, we are the future. We're gonna carry on the family lineage, and so we are endowed with the burden of taking what was given to us and making it better, improving on the design, improving on the blueprint, and you should be proud of that. As an elder, you should be proud of that. I should be a great grandfather looking at my grandkids like, damn, you guys took the work and you took it to a place where I did not know it could go. So that's what I got.
Yeah, you kind of froze at the end a little bit. You said you took the work and what now?
Oh, you took it to a place that I couldn't have imagined. Like, I
Ah,
knew it
there
was going
you
to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be this good. Like, I want to be
go.
that way
Wow.
as a great grandfather, to look at my, my progeny and be like, damn, y'all just, whoo, y'all showed out. Like, I thought I was smart. Psh, y'all are brilliant. What?
That's what's up. And it started today. It started.
Mm,
Yeah. My brother, he couldn't, I don't know, he had a lot of technical difficulties. I know he's somewhere probably trying to fix this problem. We're not going to worry about it. It's been a great show. All shows this month has been awesome. This show right here concludes our mental health awareness. And we're not going to wait until May to talk about this. I think this is a conversation that we need to have periodically throughout the rest of the year, um, to remind people that mental health is real and it does need to be talked about and it does need to be taken serious. And it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there. So, yeah, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. Next week, we just need to breathe.
mm. It's
Just
all good.
breathe. You know what? Q&A again. Just breathe. That something
Or what
light. Just
Terry.
let us just
Oh, okay.
breathe.
I was gonna say,
Because
or what
this
Terry talked about, what Terry proposed. What
what
does
did
it
she
look like?
what does yes,
What does
we can
healing
do
look
that.
like?
We can do that. And I seen something on TikTok. Oh, I'm always on TikTok. It was a sister on there, and she was like, "Healing is not just you feeling good all the time, or healing, or what is she? She said healing is also loving the bad parts of you." I
Hmm.
was like, "Oh God." So yeah, let's talk about
Acceptance.
that. Yeah, let's
Acceptance.
talk about that. What? So next week's topic is going to be, what does healing look like? Talk about what's going on in real life now. Like what? The name of the show is things that people don't want to talk about, Mr. Corey White. So if you have a topic, we're we're open to it.
Hmm.
We're definitely open to it. This will make our 40th, nope, not 40th video, 36, 37. We're at 37 videos on YouTube right now. You might want to go check them out so that they give you an idea of what we talk about. It has to be up under that umbrella that things people don't want to talk about, just like mental health is something that Black people don't want to talk about. Our first show was basically child abuse and its relationship to mental health. We be coming through the door with something. We might want to revisit that.
Hmm.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should revisit that. We should do that again. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, Mr. Corey White, please. Can you hear it? The music you hear in the background belongs to my boy John Skywalker. He is available on all streaming platforms. This is God level things people don't want to talk about. I want to I okay. I want to Oh yeah, I want to thank everyone for jumping in on tonight's live. I appreciate the love, the support, the call-ins, the comments. We will see you all back here next week. Until then, bless.